Nice. Finally, another opinion and some more information on a $2,000 stimulus check, otherwise known as a fourth stimulus check this year. Let's get right into the details. But if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe by hitting that button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you every single day with all the latest information as things are changing very rapidly during this very confusing time. So again, thank you so much for joining me. My commitment is all about you and this community as a whole to be right here by your side every single day as your one and only daily advocate to truly help you out in any way that I possibly can. As I get it, the struggle is real and I'm here for you in any way possible. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Join the community by hitting that subscribe button right down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into the information. All right, so I know that this is a major question that a lot of you right here in this community are wondering. Is there going to be a fourth stimulus check in 2022? Is there going to be a $2,000 check in 2022? Now here's the thing. I know that at the beginning of the video I said a $2,000 stimulus check, but realistically, if there happens to be one, at this point we have no clue. It could be $2,000, it could be $1,400, it could be $1,200, $1,000, $600. Honestly, we have no idea what they may be thinking. However, we do know that previously lawmakers were in support of a $2,000 stimulus check. So we certainly do know that as a fact, right? We know that there were over 80 members of Congress who were in support of a $2,000 stimulus check. However, yesterday I was also out with a video, a dedicated video, talking about a fourth stimulus check, again, in the amount of $2,000, $1,400, whatever it would happen to be, because I know that this is such a major question, and I wanted to come back in that dedicated video yesterday and talk through this a little bit more. Well, I now have more information on this, and I want to discuss this a little bit further. Now, why am I bringing up that video from yesterday? In fact, in that video from yesterday, I specifically said right in there, is everybody going to get a stimulus check in 2022, just like we saw with the last three checks that went out? In other words, a widespread stimulus check. Well, I made it very clear in that video yesterday that the possibility or probability of that happening is virtually zero, right? The possibility and probability of that happening for every single person out there is very, very low. However, as I also mentioned, if there is another stimulus check, a fourth one, it's likely going to be a very highly focused check that'll likely go out to low income, probably people under a certain threshold, and probably much lower than the previous thresholds of $75,000 and $100,000. Yeah, those people don't need checks anymore. It's highly, highly focused. So again, that's what I explained yesterday in that video. That's why I wanted to bring that up. So with that being said, now again, why am I talking about that? Simply because there's some information here that I want to share with you that's going to solidify what I'm actually saying. Now again, it's always nice to hear other opinions, right? So again, I have my opinions, I have my details, my information, my research, everything that I've been looking up, and I've been sharing it right here in these videos. However, it's always nice to hear from other people what they're thinking as far as their research, their opinions, what's going on, and how do they foresee another stimulus check, right? So I'm going to bring my wife in, Corey, here in just a second. She's going to read some information to you, and in this report here, it's very interesting, but the author of this is also suggesting the exact same thing. The likelihood of a widespread stimulus check for everybody, very, very low. It's probably not happening. However, this person also indicates the likelihood, or if there is another stimulus check, it's likely going to be going out to a highly focused group rather than a widespread big umbrella where it's covering virtually everybody, right? So very interesting. I always like to bring this information to you just to let you know what I'm finding out there, what other people are saying about this, and some of the chatter around town, or around the country, more like, not just around town, but you know what I'm saying, right? Figure of speech, right? Just so that you have an idea what's going on out there, what people are actually saying about a fourth stimulus check, and kind of what's the consensus right now about all of this going on. So it's actually interesting as well. The president yesterday also indicated that Americans are getting hammered right now by inflation. Kind of interesting because you typically don't hear this out of the president. However, yesterday afternoon, the president was out indicating that, yup, for sure, Americans are getting smoked when it comes to inflation right now. And he said they're going to be doing something about it. Okay, thanks. But honestly, it's not going to be fast enough. So, yeah, they can certainly bring inflation down. That'll help in the long term, but realistically, it's not going to help tomorrow. It's not going to help next month. Inflation is going to take a very long time to bring down. Also, as I mentioned in one of my videos yesterday. But again, we don't need to go down that road. We talked about that previously, but my point is the best way to help out with inflation, or I should say the effects of inflation, and people, really struggling right now, is ultimately cash in the pockets. We know this. We've seen it from study after study after study over the last 2 years. Cash in the pocket is the best way to alleviate short-term struggles with Americans. So, yeah. With that being said, let's bring Corey in now. She will read that article to you. If you have a couple minutes, I'd say stick around, listen to this. It's going to be very insightful. You're going to hear some information that sounds very similar to the things that I say in these videos. And to be honest with you, I just found this article late last night. So there you go, right? So anyway. With that being said, let's bring Corey in here. She will read that article to you, and leave your comments or questions down below, but I hope this helps answer some of the questions that I've been answering here on the channel as well in some of my dedicated videos. And again, all we can do is pretty much cross our fingers and hope that Congress comes to their senses and does something for the low income, the fixed income, and everybody that's struggling so incredibly badly. But just gotta keep watching things. That's all we can really do at this time. So if you haven't done so, please subscribe down below. It's totally free. Share this video with your friends, family, social media. And if you want to check out the fan club for the shoutouts at the end of the video, there's a link down below in the description. Otherwise, enough out of me. I'll catch you again later in the next video. Corey, take it away and check out this article that Corey has to read. All right, Corey, it's all you, and I'll see you again later in the next video. All right, Corey, take it away. See ya.
Stimulus checks 2022. Will a fourth check be coming? Millions of Americans want more COVID-19 stimulus money. The chances of another payment are low. Some people are still owed stimulus funds and will receive a fourth check this year. When COVID-19 was first declared a pandemic, lawmakers acted quickly on a bipartisan basis to provide the financial relief Americans needed. Under the Trump administration, several major relief bills were passed with support from both sides of the aisle. These bills provided 2 stimulus checks. After President Biden took office, however, bipartisan support for stimulus programs ended. The American Rescue Plan Act was passed on a party-line basis and provided the largest stimulus check yet, delivering $1,400 checks into the bank accounts of eligible Americans. These $1,400 payments were available for both adults and dependents. After the American Rescue Plan Act, however, no further financial relief has been provided by Washington, D.C. lawmakers, despite the fact many continue to struggle and millions have put their names on a petition calling for ongoing direct payments. Since it has been so long since the public has been offered a stimulus payment, it's natural that many people wonder whether a fourth stimulus check will be coming. A fourth stimulus check is possible, but unlikely for many people. For most Americans, it is extremely unlikely a fourth stimulus check will be provided, and here are a few key reasons why. A third check was passed on a party-line basis, and there's unlikely to be a Republican support for a fourth. Republicans weren't in favor of a third check when there was arguably more justification for it. And there's a limited number of Democrats can get a bill through Congress without Republican support. Democrats must use a procedural process called reconciliation to advance legislation unless they can get at least 10 Republicans on board. Reconciliation can be used a limited number of times, and the Biden administration has other priorities for further reconciliation bills. Democratic lawmakers are not all on board with another check. Because of the way the U.S. Senate works and the fact that the Senate is split 50-50 among Republicans and Democrats, it's not possible for Democrats to pass legislation without unanimous support from all Democratic senators unless they convince Republicans to cross party lines. It's unlikely another stimulus bill would get 50 votes among Democrats, as some of the more moderate senators on the left were wary of providing even a third check. And lockdowns aren't likely. Support for the first 2 stimulus checks was high because of widespread lockdowns that shut down businesses. It's unlikely lockdowns will occur on a widespread basis, as there's little support for them among the public so far into the pandemic and with so many Americans vaccinated. Today, we are shouting out Bob Lee, Angie Hinkle, Dorita Duckworth, James Johnson, Robert Rivas, Sharon Iney, Connie Pont, and William McLemore. Thank you for being members of the fan club.